Hello, Wake Up New Zealand. This is my last video in a series of 5 videos around the International Health Regulations 2005, the 307 amendments that are being discussed right now. This is about the World Health Assembly, where Helen Clark is co-chair over a working committee that are bringing about a new international pandemic treaty or accord. Now, in my last video, I talked about the One Health approach that I am very, very seriously concerned about. So it mobilizes multiple sectors, disciplines, communities at all levels of society to tackle potential health threats. Remember, WHO, they determine what the potential health threats are. So it addresses collective needs for food, water, energy, taking action on climate change, and promoting sustainability of Agenda 2030, UN. So promoting stakeholder corporations, a corporate capture, a data governance, a health governance. So the International Pandemic Treaty, Preparedness Response Accord, the World Assembly decision-making body representing the World Health Organization, a One Health approach entrenched in the International Pandemic Treaty to play an important role internationally by establishing an integrated multi-Pacific surveillance system. The integration of medical, public health, veterinary, agro businesses, engineering, computer science, social sciences, and environmental sectors. As I said, the whole ecosystem. To strengthen connectivity between existing international agreements, for example, UN Agenda 2030 and the IA 2030, increasing immunizations, new technology across the world. And the One Health approach, key elements are financial support, health diagnostics, treatments, and services. All must be guaranteed between and across all disciplines and sectors. The development of universal metrics, so everyone's working, every country is working from the same metric system. So that is for evaluating the One Health approach to all UN member states. So the metric system to be embedded in all data governance. All the International Pandemic Accord is a global policy established at global level. This is part of the One Health approach, to be established at a global level as a global structure to be enacted at a local, national, UN member state country level, top down. Remember, what goes on is established globally, is enacted out locally. So the implementations to existing structures for biodiversity and climate change. The global superpower of the UN, WEF Strategic Partnership 2020-2030 Decade of Action. This is Klaus Schwab's Global Redesign Initiative. Remember, I told you about the 600-page report that he introduced in 2011. That was from his previous 2010 first summit on the Global Redesign Initiative. Klaus Schwab has always wanted to be on the top, and to lead the world and to dictate the world, and this is where he is right now. So remember, I said to you, he said to these world leaders and corporations, what do you want for the future? And what you got was the global redesign, UN Agenda 2030, Fourth Industrial Revolution, and the Great Reset. So you can see all that on the Auckland City Council website, where they document the Fourth Industrial Revolution, etc. So the Great Reset, the Fourth Industrial Revolution, all part of Klaus Schwab's global redesign. So there's been a case against the international treaty, and many countries are talking about this. So the treaty, the talk about the International Pandemic Treaty took place firstly in 2020, and it was by the European Council of the European Union. And they wanted a political commitment of all countries, legal component strategies, and global health governance after the COVID-19 pandemic. So, as I say, those health restrictions are still in place, emergencies, as was announced by Tedros on the 30th of January, will continue, and I believe will run in line with this. This will take over. So the treaty is about scoping, identifying issues that require attention globally: surveillance, outbreak notifications, genetic sequencing, information sharing of pathogens, etc., etc. A universal health coverage, intellectual property rights, human rights will be hugely violated. And Tedros, the World Health Organization, and his partners, World Economic Forum, all being unelected bodies for this global governance that includes the One Health approach, which is very dangerous because it involves all ecosystems. So UN treaties have been manipulated into UN member states, have violated human rights, democratic rights, civil liberties, have controlled nations from the top down. And this is more of the same, but it's worse, much worse. This is legally binding on 196 countries. And emerging as authoritarian global governance. And that's what we've got ahead of us. So the interference, the interruption of nationalism. So our country's economy negatively affected even more. Not having the autonomy to choose our own health regulations. Instead, we have this massive One Health approach, which is within the international treaty, the pandemic treaty, which is controlled by the World Health Organization, the Secretary General, Tedros. So we've been lied to about the pandemic. We have been the mandating when there was no testing for transmission of the jab, and that has been admitted. It's also been admitted that this was no more than the flu that we get every year. That has already been admitted. We have people who should have had cancer treatments, etc. They have missed out on that. We have had lots of anxiety. How many deaths from that, I do not know, because we are not clear of how many deaths have happened from that. But we do know that we've had post-jab deaths, and that is being hidden, and serious health implications for many people, and that is being hidden. Our government needs to take into account every member of Parliament that sits in that cesspit in Wellington needs to be held account. We need to talk openly about what this pandemic treaty is about. We need to talk to all those politicians. We need to target them, to talk to them. We need to openly discuss it amongst ourselves. We need to have a rally. We need to put your differences aside. This is massive. This One Health approach that is entrenched in a legally binding international health governance actually affects every part of your life, even right down to your diet, how your domestic animals, your dogs, your cats are treated, how wild animals are treated, the birds in the sky, the air. They talk about climate change, more climate doom and gloom, more crisis, more compliance, more fear, and that's what it's about. Panic, fear, obedience, comply. You can all be servants in the fields. You can be peasants. And this government we have right now, they know what is happening. They are not telling you. But we know what is happening, and we will tell them. So people, we must come together. We must talk about this openly before it's too late. We may not be able to do anything but other countries, but we must look after our own. We have children, we have grandchildren, we have future generations. This is not what we want for them. This is not healthy. You don't have your freedom of expression anymore. So we have to take advantage, and we have to take that. We must have freedom of expression. We must be able to talk about this. The government is not the only source of truth. When I look at this pandemic treaty, international pandemic treaty, what they're saying is they will be the only source of truth to rule you, the people of New Zealand, and every other nation in this damn world. Wake up, New Zealand. I challenge all those freedom groups, put aside their differences, come together. Let's openly talk about this face to face. Let's get out there. Let's do it. We can do it, and we must do it now, because beginning 2024 is when they will be introducing this in the UN Assembly. Wake up, New Zealand.